Does he know yet, Simone?
No, Mama. And I don't know how to tell him without it sounding like a lie I've been living for 2 years.
Then don't tell him. Let him keep believing what's easier.
I can't keep doing that to him. I can't keep doing it to myself either.
The kitchen door was open maybe 3 inches. Just enough for the words to slip through into the hallway, where I was standing with my jacket still on, keys still in my hand. 2 years. Whatever this was, it had been going on for 2 years, and I hadn't seen a single sign of it. My name is Darnell Ellis. I'm 48 years old, and for 22 years, I've been a fire captain here in Atlanta. I've walked into burning buildings without hesitating. I've never once hesitated to run towards something everyone else was running from. But standing in that hallway outside my mother-in-law's kitchen, I couldn't make myself take a single step forward. Before the story unfolds deeper, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss any of our upcoming videos. 22 years with the Atlanta Fire Department. The last 6 as captain of a station in East Point. 19 years married to Simone, an ER nurse at Grady who could read a room faster than anyone I've ever known. 2 kids, a boy at Morehouse and a girl still in high school. On paper, we were the family other families said they wanted to be like. I'm not a man who goes digging for problems. I've spent my whole career running into them. I don't need to invent more at home. So when I noticed small things over the past year, I told myself what men like me always tell ourselves. It's nothing, she's tired, it's the job, it's the kids, it'll pass. Simone had started taking her phone into the bathroom when it rang. She'd started driving to her mother's house in College Park 2, sometimes 3 times a week, longer than a visit should take. She'd started going quiet in a very specific way. Not sad quiet, careful quiet. The kind of quiet that comes from someone choosing every word before it leaves their mouth. 3 weeks ago, I found a bank statement in the console of her car while looking for a charger. An account I didn't recognize. Simone Ellis, sole name. Balance, $38,400. Opened 2 years and 1 month earlier. I didn't say anything to her that night. I sat with it. I turned it over every way a mind can turn something over at 2 in the morning, staring at a ceiling fan, doing slow circles in the dark. 22 years of pulling people out of situations they couldn't get themselves out of, and I had absolutely no idea how to pull myself out of this one. 3 days later, I called a divorce attorney off a billboard I passed every day on I-285 and never thought I'd actually call. I sat in her office on a Tuesday afternoon while she explained separate accounts, community property, filing timelines. I told her I needed a few more days before I signed anything. I wasn't ready. I don't think a man is ever fully ready to end something he spent half his life building, even when he's sure it's already over. What I didn't know yet, what I wouldn't understand until I stood in that hallway outside my mother-in-law's kitchen 4 days later, was that the account, the secrecy, all of it had started long before I'd noticed a single thing was wrong. Sunday dinner at Patricia Reeves's house in College Park had been part of our marriage since before we were married. Smothered chicken, greens, cornbread made from a recipe Patricia has never once written down. It was the kind of house that made you forget anything outside its walls existed. That Sunday, with the lawyer's card still sitting in my wallet, I carried a sweet potato pie up those front steps the way I had 100 times before. I had no idea I was walking toward the sentence that would break everything open. Simone and her mother were in the kitchen. I'd gone to grab extra chairs from the hall closet, and that's when I heard it. The door barely opened. Voices low but clear. "Does he know yet, Simone?" "No, Mama." And I don't know how to tell him without it sounding like a lie I've been living for 2 years. I stood there with two folding chairs in my hands, and for a second I couldn't make myself feel anything at all. Just a strange flat stillness, the kind I've trained into my body over 2 decades of emergencies. Assess first, feel later. Patricia's voice came back steady, almost rehearsed. Then don't tell him. Let him keep believing what's easier. I can't keep doing that to him, Simone said. I can't keep doing it to myself either. I set the chairs down slow and quiet and walked back into the dining room like I hadn't heard a word. Dinner was normal. Grace, laughter, Patricia telling the same story about the church usher board she tells every single year. I smiled in the right places. I drove us home on I-20 with the radio low, saying nothing because I didn't trust my own voice not to give me away. If you were in my seat right now, overhearing something like that with no context at all, would you confront it head on, or would you wait and watch like I did? Comment, confront. If you'd have said something right then at the table. Comment, wait. If you'd have done what I did and gathered the full picture first. I want to know which one of you is actually me. That night, I did something I'm not proud of. Simone's laptop was open on the kitchen counter, the way it always was, because in 19 years we never needed passwords between us. I found an email thread with a case manager, not a divorce attorney, a case manager at a memory care facility in Decatur. I sat there reading it twice before it made any sense. My father, Otis Ellis, is 76, sharp his whole life, ran his own auto shop for 40 years, could rebuild an engine blindfolded. Over the last 18 months, I'd noticed him repeating stories, forgetting where he'd parked, once calling me by my uncle's name and correcting himself a beat too late. I noticed it. I'd told myself it was nothing, the same way I tell myself everything's nothing until it can't be ignored anymore. Simone had noticed it 8 months before I let myself admit it out loud. She'd taken him to a neurologist herself, quietly, using her nursing connections at Grady, because she knew how much it would cost me. Not in dollars, but in something harder to name, to watch my father decline in front of me. Early stage vascular dementia. Not an emergency, but not nothing. The account wasn't an exit fund. It was a fund she'd built dollar by dollar out of her own overtime shifts, so that if the day came when my father needed full-time memory care, there'd be something in place that didn't have to come out of our savings or force me to have a conversation with him about his own mind that I wasn't ready to have. The case manager wasn't for her. She was for him. What I didn't understand yet was why she was scared to tell me at all. Until the next morning, sitting across from her at our own kitchen table, she finally said the thing that explained every quiet week of the last 2 years. I didn't want you to have to be the one who noticed first, Simone said, both hands wrapped around a coffee mug she wasn't drinking from. I've watched you carry this family your whole life without ever once asking for help. I didn't want your father's decline to be one more thing you had to hold alone. So I started holding it instead, quietly, the way you always do. I asked her the question that had been sitting in my chest since that hallway. Why tell your mother instead of me? Because she went through this with her own mother, Simone said. She knew what it cost a person to watch someone's mind go. I needed somebody who understood it before I could figure out how to say it to you without breaking you in half. She told me the 2 years hadn't started with the account. They'd started the week she noticed my father repeating the same question 3 times over Sunday dinner, and I'd laughed it off like it was nothing because laughing it off was easier than saying out loud that I was scared. I've been protecting you from the truth, she said, the same way you spent 22 years protecting strangers from fires. And I finally understood that's not protection. That's just a different kind of leaving somebody in the dark. We didn't fix everything at that kitchen table. But that week, the three of us, me, Simone, and my father, sat down together and talked about what came next out loud, instead of everyone carrying a separate piece of alone. My father cried the first time in my whole life I'd ever seen it, not from fear, but from relief at not having to pretend anymore either. Patricia and I talk differently now too. Last month, she called just to check on my father, and for the first time in 19 years, it didn't feel like a mother-in-law keeping tabs. It felt like family, plain and simple. Simone's account is still there. We call it Otis's Fund now, openly, and every few months we both put something into it, together, instead of one person quietly bearing all of it alone in the dark. If there's a truth you've been carrying alone to protect someone you love, a diagnosis, a fear, a fund nobody knows about, I'd ask you gently to reconsider whether silence is really protecting them, or just protecting you from a hard conversation. If this story meant something to you, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next one. Drop a like, and tell me in the comments. Have you ever found out a secret was actually love in disguise? I read every single comment, and I'd love to hear your story too.